All right. I think we're ready to rock. Hey, welcome to today's Q&A. We're talking about, answering some of the top driver questions, or truck driving questions, I should say. My name is Jesse. I'm with Decker Truckline, and this is our weekly Q&A. All right, welcome to today's Q&A to answer all these questions, right? Normally what we do is we just kind of start off giving you the opportunity to ask your questions. You can go ahead and put those in the chat, and as I see them, as I read them off, I'll answer them. If I don't have an answer, well, then I'm going to have to go find one, right? But get to the right person to find it. But anyways, feel free to ask along the way. Hey, Riley, how are you? So yeah, we will answer some of these questions. I'm going to give you a little bit of detail that it's pretty common that I get asked. So we'll get some of those answered as well. The first one, hey, Riley, and then we've got a couple of you guys popping on. Awesome. Okay. It's getting cold out. Are you guys getting cold? I just put on layers every time I turn around. So with the weather, that means, I just want to remind you guys that with the weather getting colder, if the trucks or the temperature that you're going into gets below 18, you're going to need to make sure that you're putting additive in the trucks, right? So anything under 18 degrees, add the additive. All right. Penray is one of them that we have at the shops. There's a couple of different ones. If you need to get that, or especially if you're going into some colder area, Northwest being a good example, or North Midwest as well, then you're probably going to need to get some additive. So get with the shop. They'll give you what you need. And each one of them, they have a little bit different measurements. I think it's 200 for the Penray and 100 for the Centene. But yeah, or the Super Service. So you'll want to read, obviously, the container, the instructions, so that you're putting the right amount in. But that's just a reminder, especially if you're coming up from the southeast, just temperatures aren't usually as cold down there. So the fuel doesn't have that extra, the additive in it by itself. You usually need to add more anyway, but yeah. All right, it's getting colder, so just be prepared. Also, with weather, I know that Montana, we've got a terminal here in Montana, and so a lot of you guys probably already know that, but being here in Montana, we are expecting, I think, 3 to 6 inches is what we were told. We'll see if that comes true. I know last night it was supposed to snow too. At least not in central Montana, it didn't, so we'll see about the rest of it. Stay tuned, right? the 4-letter word that we're all not looking forward to. Definitely seeing some in some areas, though. Always got to be careful of 80 as you come across. It's like a never-ending, it's a given anymore, right? If you aren't familiar with how to put chains on your tires, you definitely need to double check one of our videos that we have on our channel here on how to chain truck tires, and that'll help you prepare. And of course, if you get into the Missoula shop, they will walk you through how to do it too. Liam is the star of the video as it is, so he'll walk you through on how to properly chain a tire. He's done many himself. Now, as far as putting chains on tires, we don't require that you do them. However, we do require that you know how to, so that if you get in a predicament, they're there to get you out of trouble, not into trouble. So if you get into a predicament where you need to throw the chains, you know how to put them on properly, and then you can, take them off and go head down the road. Find your way down, right? So yeah, check out the video to learn how to do that. All right, so about a little over halfway through November already. We're climbing into the holidays. Thanksgiving's coming up, and with Thanksgiving, we're going to obviously have a little bit different settlement time. You'll still have your settlements coming out on Friday morning. It's direct deposit, so it goes directly into the bank. However, we're going to need all of the paperwork in by Tuesday at noon. So on the 26th at noon, so that you can get paid the 29th, right? Yeah, the 29th. I had to make sure that date was right. Otherwise, if you don't have your paperwork in by noon, then it's going to be counted late for that week, for next week. Normally the cutoff is around 10 p.m. on Tuesdays, but we just got to get everything done, ready to rock for you a little bit earlier, so the payroll can get it out. Obviously, with the banks being closed for the holiday, not everything, most everything being closed for the holiday. Sorry, I have hair in my eyeball. All right. So yeah, we want to get that out right away. Let's talk benefits. It is the open enrollment season for most of us, for Decker, for most of us, which means we've got 3 weeks for open enrollment. Okay, so you have until from yesterday on to the 6th of December to make any changes to your benefits that you want. The benefits are going from Wellmark, or the health benefits, I should say, are going from Wellmark, which is who we've been using. We are now using Aplos, and I hope I'm saying that right, but we're using Aplos. So we were going to have about a 24% increase. So our HR department, our benefits department, they put their heads together, they did some search, and they found with in some cases, better coverage, and we we didn't have to have that 24% increase and still get the good coverage that we needed. So kudos to them for doing that legwork, that extra legwork to find an alternative, because 24% increase is a heck of a hike. Now, that being said, if you have a prescription or if you use prescriptions at any time, there is a $0 generic that we have. It's on that program. Make sure that you check that out. Nothing has changed with the prescription programs for the next, going into this year. That's going to be the same with I'm trying to think of what it is. Med1, sorry. With Med1, that's going to be the same. So again, $0 generic medications. The only place that those aren't available, they're pretty much any pharmacy except for Walgreens and CVS. Those are the only two that are not covered in that $0 medications with the Med1. Now, we also have $0 brand name and specialty medications. Those are through Control RX, so you would get a hold of them online, and Navicare RX. We have both of those. So that's $0 brand name and specialty medications. Again, huge, huge, huge savings for you. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. Also, continuing to use Med1 for it, so it'll be a little bit easier. We have the FedLogic program. Nothing has necessarily updated with that. That's going to stay the same. However, for those of you who aren't familiar with what the FedLogic is really it provides you some access to individuals who have a good understanding of state and federal benefits, and they can better explain it to you, and they can explain not only what it is, but how it'll affect you. So you'll have that as well. So very good. Anything from Social Security to major illness coverage. If you have any household members that are on Medicare, or trying to think of looking for alternative options, if you're exploring some alternative healthcare options, there's that as well that you can dig into. Speaking of alternative, Regenix program is an alternative. It's another option for orthopedic surgery in many cases. Not always, but it is an alternative to those procedures. It's research-based, Regenix is, and it'll help to utilize your body's own stem cells within the intent to reduce pain, to improve function. So elbows, knees, I want to say toes, no, elbows, knees, ankles, shoulders, hands, spine, those, all of those conditions can be treated. You know, if you've got issues that if orthopedic issues, those can be treated with that Regenix program. What else for coverage? Anything different? Oh, we've got the 10-year opt-out program. So if you've been with Decker for over 25 years, and I'm trying to think if I don't think there's any 25-year anniversaries this week. I believe there was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we had a few. And I know we've got a couple of coming up, like a slug of them. All like 26, I think is actually what they are. Anyways, if you want to check out the 10-year opt-out program, if you've been here for 25 plus years, you can waive your medical plan in lieu of cash. So, or for cash. And again, that the company that we have switched over to, this is all starting on January 1st, by the way. Any changes that you make to your benefits package within the next couple of weeks will go into effect on January 1st. First. So that'll go into effect right away. What else? Benefits. Oh, the 401k will have a temporary change in the 401k to 25%. On that, again, that takes effect on the 1st of January. So for all of you are utilizing that, there's that update. We have a webinar coming up tomorrow for those of you who want a little bit of information on the RSV infection and how older adults can be at a higher risk for it. So that webinar is being held by Principal, and you can access that through Principal. I think it's principal.com monthly webinars. It's what is the actual link to it. So you can check that out. I'm going to double check. Is that the right? Maybe it's webinars. Webinars.principal.com. There you go. Webinars.principal.com. And it's the series that they put out, and it's a monthly webinar with all of the details. So check it out. All right, so speaking of monthly webinars, monthly bonuses, how's that? Work? Yes. I've got all kinds of updates coming through. Sorry, you guys, if these are distracting. All right, so we do have some updates to our monthly bonus. We talked a little bit about how this was last month, how our Freightliners, there we go, that's the word I was looking for, how our Freightliners, they have been kind of running on minimal, I guess, I'm trying to think, just minimal data that we've been able to run some of the bonuses through. And so we now have some updates on that. And if you've been on a Freightliner with an Opta idle, your qualifications for the scorecard bonus have been updated. So now you're just being held accountable, similar to that of our Peterbilts and our Volvos. It was just a little bit different until we could get some of that data to come through. Now that we've been able to get that data to come through, it's a lot smoother. So that being said, very similar. I mean, you're running on the same scorecard basically as everybody else now. And we paid out over $73,000 for the month of October. We paid that out yesterday. So if you were on one of the bonuses, and I have to give a shout out because there were a handful of our owner-operators that I missed with perfect scorecards. Perfect scorecards on the owner-operator lease purchase side is an extra 3 cents on all the miles that they completed for that month, which that month being October. Whereas the company side, it's an extra 4 cents a mile. But so the difference is on the owner-operator side, you've got your fuel compliance and your idle time. They don't count against you. They're really not, they don't count for or against you on your scorecard. Whereas on the company side, that's one of the 7 criteria. That's the difference between the criteria. There's 5 criteria for the owner-operator lease purchase drivers, and for the company side, there's 7, and that's again the fuel compliance and the idle time are the additional 2. You have miles, claims, CSA violations, preventable accidents, and on-time delivery. There we go. the 5 that are consistent between both divisions. That said, we did have quite an increase from the previous month on our scorecard and our safety earnings. So we did, overall, we saw quite an increase. We had 187 company drivers who earned a scorecard, and then 50 owner-operators, lease purchase drivers who earned a scorecard. It's pretty impressive. I mean, seeing we've got right around 700 trucks. Company drivers, it's an extra almost $200 on average for our company drivers, and on average almost $270 for the owner-operator side. Yes. That's just for the scorecard, because it was about a little over $36,000 paid out on the company side and a little over $13,000 on the owner-operator lease purchase side for that scorecard. I want to take a minute and give a shout out for those who had the perfect score, because yesterday when I was going through those, I missed a handful of our owner-operators, and I really do not want to miss them. Guy-wise is another prime example of why I don't want to miss those. I missed it before. It's just not fair. I don't know what I do with there. But owner-operators, lease purchase drivers who have earned a perfect score, which means a full 1,000 points. Jerry Arthur, Stevenson Beville, Jamie Beam, Ronnie Burns, Jonah Click, Jermaine Dale, Today, Richard Elderdorf, Roxine Jean, Michael Graff, George Grimes, James Haynes, Cynthia Hughes, Ryan Leite, Lester Malone, Julius Martin, Michael Mathis, Brent McCrae, Joshua Mitchell, Matthew Neerling, Niraj Patel, Mergledo Pierre, Ashley Smith, Devin Stokes, Austin Vandiver, Gilberto Villegas, Hans Wackel, Edward Walker, and Guy Wise. Yes, those are our owner-operator lease purchase with a perfect score, 1,000 points. We had not quite as many on the company side, but definitely had a handful. Robert Anderson, Clayton Appleby, Tyler Ash, Robert Banks, Martin Blanker, David Bodle, Merle Curry, Christopher Daniels, Larry Dew, Lydia Dietrich, Abdu Jibbo, Darren Ladley, Dustin Likens, Thomas Melton, Daryl Mobley, Jeremy Moritz, Todd Overson, Jason Reeve, Robert Skiles, Alan Smith, Dean Sosek, and Rita Tyler. So huge congrats to each one of those. That's a huge achievement. Plus, we had, I don't even know the number, for the safety. That's on the scorecard. On the safety side, which is an extra penny per mile on all the miles that you completed for the previous month, we paid out $1,700, over $1,700 on the owner-operator side, on average about $97 a piece for the 18 owner-operators who earned that safety bonus. On the company side, we had 247 earn that safety bonus. Yes. And quite a few of those were perfect scores. So, yeah, I mean, heck of a number. Over $21,000 paid out in the safety bonus, which is a little over $85 a piece on average. I mean, granted, there are some who were running a little higher than the others, but definitely some good numbers there. Job well done, right? Can't see if this is giving me a whole lot of, trying to see here. You know when YouTube starts to have extra add-ons? Oh, this is new on YouTube. And they've got all these little blurbs coming across my screen. Let me check this out, see what this is. Live automated mid-rolls. What is that? I don't know. We'll find that out. Let's see. Saw an average. I'm trying to figure out what that is. We'll see. We'll dismiss that for now. We don't need any of that. That was just a distraction. Sorry, you guys. Couldn't figure out what that was. They want me to put ads on here. I don't think so. We don't need them, right? I don't think we do. Coming up on, well, actually right now. So in the Des Moines shop at our Des Moines terminal, if you guys have not already noticed, they've been under construction for a while. They started that next round. They started on the 11th, so last Monday, not yesterday, but the Monday before, so a week ago Monday. And there's going to be continued construction for a bit. So we're facing a few issues with the trucks and trailer parking that we want to make sure we're reminding you of. We've put out a couple of notices. We've sent out texts. We've called in some cases, but mostly texts and messages over the MobileCom. In the south end zone of the lot, there's an open pit area there right now, but it's being filled with the dirt. It's going to turn into mud. You know that because it's just putting into dirt. So that's going to pose a significant safety risk, and it's possibly going to damage the equipment. So we want to make sure you guys are very well aware of that. Please do not drop any trailers on that lot. And that's going to include loaded trailers and empty because it is so soft. And also no coupled truck and trailer parking on the lot at all right now. We simply don't have the space available during construction. And then the south end, like I was saying, of the lot, it's all full in active construction. So avoid driving in that parking area altogether. And as a reminder, we do have a temporary lot that has been extended to us to use as well. So make sure that you're talking to your driver leader so that they are getting you, if you're going to have to park the truck and trailer, they're getting you to the right location to park that, probably at the temporary lot for now, or moving you along until we can. So I know it's a pain in the butt. We apologize. What happened is there was a water main ended up breaking because of damage from a storm on CenturyLink lines, I think is how it went. I'm trying to remember the order in which it happened, but it was like one thing caused the other, which caused the other. And now they are in full on, let's repair this properly mode. Thank goodness, because it took a hiccup. But they're moving equipment. They're placing cones in the restricted area. They are trying to make sure that you are very well aware of where to stay away from. So please respect those barriers and just, we just need to keep everybody safe. Just help us out. And again, obviously, thank you for your cooperation on that because it's not convenient. We totally understand. But if you have questions, reach out to your driver leader. Let's get those answered. So you're not wondering, okay, well, when is this going to be done? What do I do? Let's just take those questions head on and answer them for you. Fair enough? All right. I think those were like on my to-do list to make sure that I got that to you. All right, as far as everything else, some of the available positions that we've got here at Decker are going to include our over-the-road refrigerated division. We have our over-the-road flatbed division. We have more of our Midwest refrigerated. And then we have some more Midwest flatbed as well. Definitely. When I say Midwest refrigerated, though, I do want to clarify that it is going to be anywhere from the Denver, Colorado area all the way over to the east. So the area that it omits is going to be west of Denver. So the Northwest, Washington, state of Washington, Utah, Montana, California, Arizona, those are all areas that you wouldn't run in our more regional refrigerated, but you would definitely run in our over-the-road refrigerated. So depending on the division that you're in, you may or may not see that. So keep that in mind. That's the first part. All right? Other than that, the different positions obviously are going to, we hire off of, for those based off of where you live, based off of the freight that we have. So there's a few different factors that kind of all fall into that. So if you have questions, I highly recommend you reach out to your driver leader and get, if you're wondering who I can refer or if we're hiring out of that area, you can reach out to your driver leader, but most importantly, reach out to your recruiter so that they can give you more specifics. That's changing all the time. They do work very closely with the operations department to make sure that as recruiters that they're going to have the most accurate of information for you. So do that. The number, by the way, is 877-433-2537. That will get you to the recruiting department, and that's where they'll answer those questions. But if you're wondering about a specific area, don't even hesitate. Make sure that you put that in the chat, and I can answer those questions as they come about as well. That way you're not having to wait, especially if, we don't want to have you wait on hold if you're in an area that we know wouldn't work, right? We want to make sure that we address that right out of the gate. Now, as far as hiring areas, for the most part, let's talk over the road flatbed first. Let's kind of narrow in on that. There are quite a few areas that we hire for in our over the road flatbed. Keep in mind that for this division, you're looking to be home every other weekend. Flatbed, yes, we can pretty much get you home every other weekend. Refrigerated, no guarantees on the weekend home time. In case you aren't aware, the reason is because refrigerated freight does run on the weekends, where flatbed, not usually. And so that's why we can guarantee on the home on the weekends. Usually coming home on either a Friday night or a Saturday morning, and then back out either Sunday night or Monday morning, usually for an early Monday morning delivery. That's pretty normal. In the flatbed. There are a couple exceptions to the home every other weekend, and that would be if you live from Bessemer, Alabama to Atlanta, Georgia, so along 20 there, we do have home weekly opportunities. Same running lanes, so you'd still run as far west as possibly Denver, although most of it's going to be Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin. Even though Texas, most of it's there and headed towards the east. You wouldn't really go west of there. We don't have a lot of flatbed that runs out west. Refrigerated, yes, that's over the road. But in flatbed, no, we stay mostly west or Midwest and east for that division. But for the Bessemer, Alabama to Atlanta, Georgia, along 20 there, we do hire home weekly. Just know that you're running similar lanes. We can get you home a little bit more often out of that area. So again, 877-433-2537 to get more details from one of our recruiters on that. We do require at least 6 months of flatbed experience in order to qualify for that position. If you don't have 6 months of flatbed experience, but you have a year of tractor trailer, well, we can work with that as well. As long as, when you come aboard, we'll have you go through the securement and TARP training. We'll have you go through our orientation. Now, orientation is kind of like a deep dive into company policies, procedures, how to run the equipment. Not the basics of running the equipment, but kind of a deep dive into the communication of it and, maintenance checks, pre-trip, post-trips, things like that. As far as making sure that you qualify DOT-wise, of course, that is done ahead of time, that you've got a valid Class A CDL, that you've got driving experience beyond the 6 months, either the 6 months, or the year of tractor trailer. And then good work history, that comes into effect or into account when we're talking qualified positions, qualified applicants, and making sure that you've no failed or refused drug or alcohol tests, no tickets, no moving violations. Now we can work with a ticket, as long as it's not a major moving violation. If you had, say, a 5 over speeding ticket, we can work with that in the last 3 years. We can't work with a 15 over in the last 3 to 5 years. That has to be at least 3 years old, at the very minimum. In a commercial vehicle, it has to be 5 years. So yeah, if you have questions on the qualifying factors, get with the recruiter or ask right here, 877-433-2537. And then again, like I said, we'll train you. It's a week-long orientation. That's following the online orientation that you'll need to complete before you even come to Fort Dodge. So you've got to do that first. And that's usually, it's online. It's usually a video or an article or even an image, a clickable image that you'll answer a number of questions for. So you'll have that, then you'll have a couple of questions, then you go on to the next one. There's several modules. Each one of those is a module. And there's several modules that you'll go through before completing the online orientation. We also have you do your drug test. If you needed you do both the hair follicle and the urinalysis for the drug test. But then if you need a new physical, we'll set you up with a new physical as well. If your physical's good for another 6 months, a year, then we can usually use that. Just make sure that we have the long form physical, that you've given that to the recruiter so that we can sign off on it. So again, 877-433-2537 to get details from them on that. Other qualifying factors, I think we hit most of it. You've got to be 21 years of age. Yes, I know that ours can be stricter than others, but there's a reason for that, right? Yes, best fleets to drive for 3 years in a row. Definitely have some elite professional drivers here at Decker that we can rely on. And so obviously having those professional drivers here also increases our standards. So yeah, if you're wondering whether or not you meet the qualifications, don't hesitate to ask. 877-433-2537. After you have your online orientation, you've done your physical and your drug test, that's when you'd come to Fort Dodge to do your in-person orientation. And normally we get you a rental car. We'll take care of your hotel, your meals, but we'll make those arrangements for you. We do have a repayment agreement, so if you left us within the first 6 months, you'd be responsible for a portion of those expenses that we fronted. But if you left after the fact, it's just wash. It's null and void, even if there was some costs left on that still, right? Like reimbursement, yeah, because you would only pay after the 6 months. There we go. Hopefully that makes sense. 877-433-2537. What other top trucking questions do you have here at Decker, or for us here at Decker? We've talked a little bit about benefits. How about equipment? We are mostly 579 Peterbilts, very well maintained, newer model. We've got a few Volvos, 780s, 860s, 740s in the flatbed division, and we have a few Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions. As I mentioned earlier, those Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions, they have the Opta idle on them, and an inverter, of course, where the Peterbilts and the Volvos, those have the APU unit, and of course the bunk heater and inverter, refrigerator. They all have refrigerators, microwaves, televisions, Epic View, programming, that's company paid. We have, I think I said microwaves. We have the bunk heaters and the APUs, air conditioners. We've got the CB units in the truck. I'm trying to remember what else I'm missing. I know they're fully loaded. They are double bunk. Now that being said, like I said, most of them are the 579 Peterbilts. However, I have talked to a couple of our drivers. We have currently 10 589s. Those are new 589s that we've been trying out and just kind of getting the details from our professional drivers. Most of those professional drivers have been here for quite some time and got a good feel for the type of equipment that we're looking for and the quality, and they have a good understanding of that. So we've been, as I look at some of my notes on that feedback, those are, ride is very, very smooth is what I'm hearing. So we'll probably be seeing more of those, more details to come on that. But so the 579s, we do have some 389s too. Those 389s, those are more designated for some of our veteran drivers, 15 plus years experience here. They get to spec them a little bit. So those are a little bit different than the 589s, and definitely different than the 579s. But again, the amenities are going to be the same when it comes to APUs, refrigerators, microwaves, TV, satellite programming. Actually, it's like streaming. That's Epic View. The double bunk, the CB. What am I missing? There's so many features to them, but the difference with the 389s, there's a lot more chrome. It is obviously the style of the Pete is quite a bit different. So the very, very nice trucks. The 389s aren't as roomy as the 579s, even though they look pretty darn sharp. That they do. But again, if you have more questions on those, if you want a little bit more detail on the trucks, 877-433-2537 for details. Cool? Excellent. Benefits all start after 60 days. One benefit that I didn't talk about is obviously vacation time. So you get 1 week's vacation after you've been here for 6 months. You'll get another week on your 1 year anniversary. Then you'll get another week vacation on your 2 year anniversary. 3 years it goes to 2, and then it goes up from 2 to 3 weeks come your 7 year anniversary. So at 7 years, you'll be bumped up to 3 weeks of paid vacation instead of the 2 weeks. So there's that. That's how that schedule works. Again, if you have questions, 877-433-2537. And if you're wondering about your rate of pay is going to be dependent on your years of experience. So if you have, a year of refrigerated experience, you're looking at 55 cents a mile, If you're looking at a year of flatbed experience, you're starting out at 56 cents a mile. You get a penny raise. After 90 days, you get a penny raise annually. Until you hit the cap. The cap is at 70 cents a mile. So if you have 20 years of experience and you're in the flatbed division, you'll start off at the top at 70 cents a mile. If you're in the refrigerated division, you have 15, 20 years experience, you'll start off at 65 cents a mile, and you'll still have a little bit of growth, a penny raise after 90 days, and then again annually until you hit that cap. So there's the difference between the different divisions. Again, the rate of pay per mile and the miles that you run, that would determine what you make for the week. However, we do have a minimum pay. So that's kind of a safety net that's set there for you in case, for some reason, you didn't meet, maybe you didn't get the miles, or you had some layover or something, whatever, mechanical breakdown, something like that. We pay mechanical breakdown, we pay layover, we pay detention, we have those in place, but that safety net is if what you made, it doesn't meet or exceed $1,000 for the week. If it doesn't, then you'll automatically move up to that 1,000, and Decker will make the difference, will pay the difference to you to make sure that you've got that minimum. But you do need to qualify for that, meaning you got to meet the basic requirements. Be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. Make yourself available, right? With flatbed, it needs to be Monday through Friday. Where refrigerated, you can have 5 days a week from Sunday to Thursday, or Saturday to Wednesday, versus flatbed where it has to be Monday through Friday for that reason, because that's when the freight runs. So make sure you're available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. No load refusals, no driver service failures, no late loads, no CSA violations for the week, no preventable accidents for the week. Get your paperwork on time. Remember, next week is going to be on Tuesday at noon, the 26th, versus Tuesday at 10 p.m. on the 26th. So that's the difference. Please make sure you get your paperwork in on time. I'm putting notices everywhere. We'll send notices out on Friday and on Monday and Tuesday, and please make sure that you get your paperwork in on time to qualify for that minimum pay for next week. If you haven't already, you should still have paperwork. It's only Tuesday. We have a week. Speaking of that, we have a week. We have the adjusted shop hours. Whew, there we go. For next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday, because of Thanksgiving. So there will be, I think things will close on Wednesday night. Some of them at 5, some of them at 4:30, some of them 5:30, some of them at midnight. I think Bessemer is usually midnight. And then back up on Friday morning. Everybody will be back up on Friday morning at 7 a.m. Back rolling. Missoula, Bessemer, Fort Dodge, Des Moines, all of them. Yep, after you were well fed. Hopefully. Hopefully you got a good dinner when you go home. So yes, this is how home time works for Thanksgiving. You speak with your driver leader. Your driver leader makes sure that they get you home for Thanksgiving. Same goes for Christmas and New Year's. We're really shooting for those home on those holidays. Make sure that we can get you there instead of out on the road. So that's really important here at Decker, and so we want to make sure that's a priority as well for our professional drivers. Like I said, it's getting cold out, so I'm drinking tea like crazy. I'm like, and this is getting colder faster than I wanted it to. It's like lukewarm, if that. All right. What else am I missing for next week? With the holidays coming up, like I said, we've got Thanksgiving coming up. Speaking of holidays, we are working diligently on our calendar, our 2025 calendar. Can you believe that? 2025. Okay. Maybe it just kind of hits you every once in a while that you're like, holy smokes. Anyways, 2025 calendar will be coming out. We have made the selections. We'll be announcing the winners for all of the photos that were submitted. By the way, ton of photos submitted. I think 370. That's the last number that I remember. 370 photos were submitted. And since then, I've had a handful of beautiful photos already submitted for next year, for the 2026. Yeah. Whew. Getting them in ahead of time. Anyways, we do keep those because they are gorgeous. You guys' photos are way better than mine, I can tell you that. And that's not tooting anybody's horn out of any other reason, but it is true. We do have a gentleman come in and take, photos. Or he did, I guess it was over a year ago, 2 years ago already. No way. Anyways, beautiful pictures, but our professional drivers' pictures have been like mind-blowing. So pretty. You get all over, instead of just, we have beautiful terminals, but instead of just at one of the terminals, you get tons of options, different areas, whether you're on the beach, right? Kevin is a good example. Whether you're on the beach, or you're in the middle, or you're going by some cornfields, or up in the mountains. Oh man, so many options. They're beautiful. So, okay, there we go. We'll be announcing those soon as well. But those calendars should be coming out. Well, they'll probably come out late December. So we're looking forward to those. Because my current one has writing all over it. You fill in all the dates. All the dates to remember. Oh, speaking of dates to remember, with our calendars, we have the Driver Appreciation Week already marked in there. It's usually the second week of September. So we've got our holidays in there. Important dates, those type of things. And then, like I said, everything that I write in there to remind myself, gotta do this, gotta do that. And then you start with your new calendar, and you're like, oh man, so fresh. All right, that's what I love about the new year. Planners, calendars, a good clean slate, good start, right? Come refreshed. Yeah. All right. So the holiday coming up is obviously going to affect the settlement, so that's why you got to get everything in by Tuesday. We'll keep you in the loop as Christmas and New Year's comes about, because that will also affect the cutoff dates for the settlements. let's see, Christmas is on a Wednesday. So I would think, I better wait to find out the details. But Christmas is on a Wednesday this year, so we'll see how that, Christmas and New Year's for that matter. It's going to affect the payroll. Just don't know if it'll affect the cutoff to Monday or if it'll be Tuesday at noon. We'll find out more details on that one. How's that? Fair enough. We'll wait. All right. Sounds like a plan. Again, if you have more questions on any of the available positions, please do not hesitate to reach out to our recruiting department. It's 877-433-2537. We'll be there to answer those questions. And one more time, I want to congratulate all of our professional drivers who earned their scorecard bonus and their safety bonus for this week. They were paid out yesterday on that. If you had expected to be paid out and you didn't see it, please reach out to us. Let's make sure that we take care of those. But I think any discrepancies, most of the time the discrepancies are found the week prior. And that's why we stress heavily, make sure that you review your scorecard and your safety bonus with your driver leader each month, because we obviously want to make sure that we don't have any of those discrepancies. We don't have any of those inaccuracies. Right? Right. All right. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. We're going to be talking a whole lot of weather as it turns more into snow time. That's not good. What we'll probably do is have some weather updates on a regular basis for you guys as well, just because it's going to start being more and more relevant. So we'll dive into that very, very soon. Thanks you guys so much for all that you do, and we'll see you next Tuesday at noon Central here on our YouTube channel. And of course, Facebook, we go live for our Q&A with company policies, updates, benefits, all that good stuff on Monday at 4 p.m. Central on our Facebook page. So, all right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. We will talk to you very soon.